even be 5'9".
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. I mean, he's probably between 5'8" and 5'10", if I had to
Yeah.
guess.
And
Closer to 5'8", maybe
a
even
lot of
5'6". Who knows?
a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, but what about Kyler Murray or Drew Brees?" I'm like, those quarterbacks, those shorter quarterbacks who make it in the NFL, those are a dime a dozen,
Yeah.
and that's not like it's a regular thing that's going to
Yeah.
happen. That if it happened more and more, it wouldn't be a concern him being
Right.
5'9.5".
Yeah. I mean, Drew Brees is going to go down as like a top 7 QB all time, and Kyler Murray is like, dude. First of all, Kyler Murray has a rocket attached to his right shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and he's arguably the quickest feet in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So, like, no disrespect to De'Aaron King, because I agree with you. He's the best thing that's happened to our program since 2005, no doubt. Um, but he's just not on Kyler Murray's level as a prospect. He's not as fast. He's not as quick. He doesn't have the arm. He doesn't have the accuracy. Um, is but that doesn't mean that he's gonna fail in the NFL though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just because he's not as good as Kyler Murray, that doesn't mean he sucks. It just means that he's not going to be the number 1 pick in the draft.
Exactly. So, I mean, personally, I don't think either of them will come back, sadly.
Okay.
But I think it's more likely that King comes back than Brevin. The
Agreed.
I it sucks that this is going on with Brevin, because his talent is just so incredible. He has first round talent. He was a project, like, for the 20 after his true freshman season in 2018. They started to do like mock drafts for like the younger players in college football, and the early mock draft for the 2021 draft had Brevin as like going number 15 overall, and this was after his freshman season.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think he will leave. I think it's just, if he leaves after the season because of the injuries, I don't think he's a first rounder. And I just think
Yeah.
it sucks. It's a shame, because he's the kind of guy that needs to come back next season, just because for his draft stock, but he's also a leader. He's a leader in that locker room, and guys look up to him, and I don't know. So.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I actually would. I think it's a very safe bet that Brevin's gone. But do you think I can play devil's advocate without getting a bunch of backlash on Twitter?
Have we ever cared?
That's a great point. Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit better, or a little bit right now. Is it a guarantee that Brevin is our best tight end next season if he comes back?
No.
Agreed. I actually, as time goes on, I'm actually starting. We've talked about Will Mallory being a better pro tight end. As time goes on and Mallory gets more comfortable, I'm actually starting to think he might be a better college tight end too.
You know what's crazy? If they both declared early for the draft right now, who's to
Uh,
say Mallory wouldn't be picked ahead of Brevin?
that's a very interesting point. I think, I mean, maybe Mallory would be like a combine hero. I just wonder if he's gotten the exposure, because I don't even think people are putting him on the draft boards, even though he's eligible. Um, but I mean, you're right. Like, just from a measurable standpoint, he's if we're talking strictly measurables, he is a preferable prospect to Brevin. He's taller. Um, I mean, honestly, when he's running down the field, he looks every bit as quick.
Yeah.
And he's bigger. And, like, he also does better with jump balls, too. That's kind of Brevin's big weakness, is like 50-50 balls do not go Brevin's way.
Yeah. And Mallory's just an athletic freak.
Yeah.
Brevin has I think Brevin has better hands. He's probably a better blocker too. But what you want as in a pro tight end, like, you draw a picture and it's Will Mallory.
Exactly. I mean, I think sky's the limit for Will Mallory. I think sky's the limit for his potential in the NFL. It's going to depend a lot on the strength and conditioning and the coaching that he gets. But like you said, prototypical size and speed, and he It really
Yeah.
would not surprise
So
me if he becomes a Pro Bowl tight end.
I don't think the odds are that high that either of them come back next year.
Really, you don't think Will Mallory's coming back, or are you talking King?
Oh, no, I was talking about King and King and Brevin.
I got you. My mistake.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for that reason, like, you know, like Brevin, who knows if he's even tight end number 1 on this team next year. So I don't know, man. Anyways, on to the next question. Let me pull this up. Go ahead.
When used to the extent of the weapons we have, I mean, both of them could have tight end, and so they're by far our 2 best pass catchers and threats in the passing game. So
agreed.
Yeah, I don't think, but yeah, to answer the original question, I don't think King or Brevin Jordan come back. So
okay, and I do have King coming back. I do not have Brevin coming back.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah, right. Okay, so this is from our guy Ethan, regular contributor here to the mailbag. Okay, what do you think our record is next year if we King but keep all of our coaching staff? Let me pull up our non-conference schedule for next year.
The only thing that matters is Bama.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have Michigan State at home.
Yeah. Let's see. I think you're right. I think we do have. I'm pulling up fbschedules.com, so hopefully. Yeah. So our non-conference is Alabama and Atlanta. We have Appalachian State.
A little bit.
What?
You keep cutting out a little bit.
Oh, okay. So we got Alabama and Atlanta. We have Appalachian State. We have Michigan State, and we have CCSU. I think that is that. Is that Coastal Carolina?
I think that's maybe Charleston Southern.
Central Connecticut is who they have.
Hell?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of them.
I mean, apparently we're scheduled to play them September 25th next year. So, I mean, that's according to fbschedules.com. I don't know how accurate that is.
Well, and honestly, let's think about this. Bama, we're not winning that game. Michigan State, it could be tough. App State is a solid team too. So that's not an easy non-conference schedule. What was the question? If King leaves, but the coaching staff stays?
Yeah. So we're talking a Tyler Van Dyke team with Rhett Lashley as offensive coordinator, or N'Kosi Perry,
or whoever we get in the transfer portal.
Yeah. Hopefully Tyler Van Dyke. I really hope Tyler Van Dyke.
Yeah.
If it's not Tyler Van Dyke, we're in trouble. Honestly.
I think even with Tyler Van Dyke, I think there will be some hiccups. Like as a redshirt freshman, that's a young quarterback. Obviously, he's a very talented kid. I really like Tyler Van Dyke. I was excited when he came over from the East Coast, and I think he has a really bright future. I just don't think it will be as smooth in the beginning as Canes fans are picturing in their mind. Does that make sense?
It does, and I agree with you, but what I mean by that is, like, if we go through spring camp and fall camp and we're like, oh, we're not sure if Van Dyke is ready to take it from Cozy Perry, I'm going to be really worried.
Yeah.
Especially because who knows if we even take a quarterback in this cycle. And then it's like, oh, man, we really know what we have from Cozy, and I love Cozy. But I feel like, I mean, you hear about like replacement level stats, right?
Yeah.
Like wins above replacement level or whatever. I feel like Cozy Perry is a replacement level college quarterback. Like, he is average. He's very vanilla. And that's no disrespect to Cozy, because I love the kid. I'm proud of what he's done here in terms of becoming a leader and working hard and staying out of trouble and stuff. But, like, I don't get excited when I hear that Cozy's going to start.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I think it's also.
I'm not even trying to say he sucks. I'm just saying like it doesn't move the needle for me.
Yeah, I think you're making a really good point, honestly. But I I would slow down, and I want to see Cozy more in this offense because think about Joe Burrow's first year at LSU.
Yeah.
Or second year, I think he was there for 2 years, and he wasn't in a kind of offense that fit him. It was more of a pro style, and then he gets with oh my gosh, what's Joe Brady. Joe Brady comes over. He's the passing game coordinator. They're passing the ball over at LSU. Look what turns into Joe Burrow. So I'm just saying, with Rhett Lashley, I think we could see a whole different N'Kosi Perry.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. And honestly, I hope that happens. But the chatter this year has been that like it's an open competition for two. Like Tyler Van Dyke is pushing Cozy. We saw Cozy a little bit. I wasn't super impressed. I mean, obviously, like his sample size is probably just 10 snaps or less. So you can't really write a book on that. But I don't know. I'll be very underwhelmed. If we go into week 1 with Cozy starting, I'll just be kind of like I'm prepping for like 8-4 that year, if that.
Yeah, because FSU is going to be Tallahassee. You play Bama in Atlanta, which is a loss. You don't know what Virginia Tech is going to be looking like. UNC, with Howell, he's going to be a junior at UNC too. So
yeah.
But the thing is, it also depends who comes back. I know the question is if King doesn't come back, but what about Jalen Phillips? What about Bubba Bolden? What about all these other players? I think the goal should be 9 or 10 wins. I don't know if we could get that. It's just honestly, it's so early to see.
Yeah.
Like,
so I got a question. Here's my mailbag question. I mean, I've gotten in trouble a lot on Twitter for saying that the team hasn't been necessarily meeting my expectations of what we should look like this year. What do you think the expectations are? Like what is a accomplished goal for you for this Canes team?
For next season?
No, for this season. Like what was your goal for this year? I know you predicted a 2-loss season, so 9-2. Oh, you predicted? Yeah, that's right. I predicted 9-2, and you predicted 8-3.
Yeah, and so I obviously I wanted to see more wins. I wanted us to be. It's a long list of things. I just wanted to see improvement, not just on the field, but around the program. I wanted to see I wanted to see optimism again surrounding and so and a bowl win. I want a bowl win. If we get to that point, because we've won maybe one bowl game since 2006. So, I predicted 8 wins. And we are at 7-1 right now. So I'm pleasantly, I'm happy with what we've had this year. It's a completely different team than last season.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. And I think that's important, though, is to like state the goals, right? Because when you give a take, right, it's all relative to what your expectations are, So because I've been talking with some people on Twitter and I'm like, oh, man, like I'm really upset with how the defense is playing. And they're like, what are you talking about? We've already won as many games as last year or more games. And I'm like, well, like that, it wasn't my goal to go 500 plus 1, that wasn't my goal for this year. But like if that's your goal, then that's fine, right? So when people are happy about just being better than 500, like that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's all relative to your expectations. And honestly, my expectations with how loaded we were, it was my goal for this team to have a crack at the ACC championship game and to make a New Year's Six bowl. And so, when my criticism comes out like, hey, man, our wide receivers aren't doing enough. Our corners ain't doing enough. Our linebackers ain't doing enough. The defense isn't doing enough. The offense isn't scoring enough. That's with the goal in mind of reaching the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
So like I'm not saying that we suck. But the last 3 games have been kind of rough, man. Like we aren't winning convincing. And what I don't want, because I don't want